I think the era of multiculturalism is actually coming to an end because something, and when Nigel Farage is like, well, something's happening out there, it's like, yeah, Nigel, you're gonna repudiate it. You are gonna distance yourself from it. You're gonna be like, no, I don't agree with what's happening when you figure out what it is. But anyway, go for now and go and get your copy of Under while you still can. It's not gonna be on sale for much longer, and don't have to pay eBay prices for it, which are like hundreds of pounds. You can get it for 15 quid or whatever your local currency is, and I recommend you do. Anyway, right. So today, I think it was yesterday, actually. Let me just check. Yeah, it was yesterday. Was the 1100th anniversary of King Ethelstan's coronation in Kingston Town. Now, you'll know all about King Ethelstan, won't you, Nick?
Not as much as you, I must admit. I mean, it's not my era, but I've...
A bow in here.
Yeah, you got to just give me the right books and I'll read them, but I'm not as good on ancient history as you guys.
You know Ethelstan. That's right. So Ethelstan is the grandson of King Alfred. King Alfred expands the Kingdom of Wessex to be about half of England, and it's Ethelstan, his grandson, who conquers the rest of it and first becomes the king of all of the English. And so he is truly the first king of England. And it was his coronation anniversary yesterday, which is very based and very cool, and I like it a lot.
And slightly surprising that Tom Holland would be at something so based, because he's a bit of a lib.
Well, that's the thing. Tom Holland's like a Lib Dem, right? And I keep telling people, Lib Dems don't actually hate the country. They just want to be well thought of at their dinner parties. Right?
Yeah, fundamentally.
But he was the guy that said that the covering up the rape gangs had good intentions behind it.
Yes, because he's a lib.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, it's all about the intentions, right? But anyway, so you had that. And it's just interesting how if you were to ask King Ethelstan now, what do you think of your kingdom, my lord? He'd be like, why is it full of heathens and barbarians? I spent my entire life crushing and driving out pagans and barbarians.
And supporting the Catholic Church.
And why are they here? And that's a great question. I mean, you can see just
look at this by the bins. It's absolutely dire. Nappies, just look at this. What are the mothers who are doing this? Do you have no shame? Look at that.
Can't help but notice the ethnic composition of the people.
That's horrific.
This is an area in London, of course.
The worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going. I hadn't watched that properly on the train. That is horrific.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. And
I hate littering so much. Never mind nappies. I hate any littering. Any littering to me is like death penalty. Yeah. But then nappies or whatever with blood on it is
disgusting. And so you that's just, small examples of just how England is large areas of England are currently occupied in ways that are just infuriating to watch. Here's the Muslim Defense League. Feeling radicalized yet?
I mean, it's like 300 or something, but it's Muslims. You know what I mean? If that's not like a standing army, I don't know what is.
It's like the Persians coming over the hill, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an army in waiting.
Yeah, and they know it. And this is the thing. They have this kind of thymotic claim where they view themselves as a group primarily, and they think, right, we're stamping our territory by marching down it in what is essentially a kind of militarized way. This was from the Southport riots and the reaction from the Muslim community to the Southport riots. And so it ends up looking like we're basically a colonized country because, of course, we put up foreign signs and we accept that large swathes of the country just don't have English people in now. And so you can understand that sort of collective sense of belonging and identity and dominion of the English people over England is being attacked by the sort of settler colonialism that mass immigration has turned into.
I used to live next to Whitechapel, to atone for my sins, I suppose.
Yep.
Just walking down the markets with all of the burqas there.
Oh, yeah.
Just absolutely horrific.
Yep.
One time I was sick at home on a Friday, and somebody knocks on my door. Yes, are you Muslim? What? If you're Muslim, you need to go to the mosque now. Just Friday noon.
It's a mosque militia going around.
So just sort of, they view it as doing good works by reminding people of their duty to go to mosque.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's a way of enforcing community cohesion. I mean, in Lebanon, back in the day, if you missed church on a Sunday, everybody knew and would check up on you and make sure that you were all right. But this is slightly different in the sense that this is preemptive enforcement to make sure that that you comply with the community's wishes. And that's how you get to mass vote, essentially.
And that's how you get these gangs.
Also in the wrong country. If there was someone knocking saying, "Have you got to church today?" I'd be like, "Oh no, thank you." I'd be like, "That's it." I'd be all right with that.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. But anyway, so you can see why people are feeling that their country is getting away from them, and that actually foreign peoples who have their own countries that they could go back to are in fact taking over areas of ours. And then you get the police who are of course on their side. Here's a UK officer telling a man that asking people to speak English might qualify as a hate crime, which is great.
Apparently during some conversations between yourself, apparently you have alleged, we weren't here, so I don't know you said it, but you've alleged to say, speak English, or what's that effect?
Speak clearly.
Speak clearly.
No,
Okay.
the gentleman's partially deaf.
Yeah, he said speak clearly. Yeah.
So I couldn't even hear him.
No, and that's fine, and that's why we've just come to speak, because potentially someone could perceive that as a hate crime.
Speak English in England, well, that could be a hate crime because the police are here to defend the new immigrants rather than the opposite. I mean, if they came up to you and said, speak Urdu or Bangladeshi or whatever it is they speak that was on the signs, that would never be considered a hate crime.
Nope.
No one would even think about it.
Could be potentially perceived as, like, anyone could potentially perceive anything as anything.
Yeah.
These policemen have to really look in the mirror and say, "Is this what I want to do with my life?"
Yeah. And so, of course, this means that the natives are feeling rather dispossessed. Here's a chap who was trying to get a job on just a building site, and he was just like, there are just no English people around. And so he doesn't fit in. And then you get this from the Times. This was a couple of days ago. I'm just going to read a quick quote from this because this is just, it's insufferable. And it really is driving me mad. Quote, "My friend's department recently housed a charming East African asylum seeker who had been given leave to remain, providing him with a newly refurbished studio on a quiet tree-lined street. This is in London. But then he brought over his wife and multiple children through the refugee family reunion route. Other tenants in the block of flats complained about the noise. The family had trouble fitting into one bedsit, but the council could not throw them out at such short notice. It had to provide them with a 4-bedroom house." The man had
house in London.
millions.
For an asylum seeker.
Millions we are spending on this, right? The man has no job. He's living on universal credit. No one in the family can speak any English. The children need schools. The wife needs medical attention. The council has a duty of care, so they went to the top of the housing list bypassing 2,000 locals. Like, if this isn't making your inner gammon rage at the injustice of this, I don't know what will. And what's worse is when they just come out and say, yeah, this was always the plan. Right? You might be like, who's John McTernan? Well, let's have a look at his bio and find out, shall we?
Advisor to Blair.
Yeah. Strategist and commentator, formerly Tony Blair's political secretary and Julia Gillard's comms director, #2 PR Influence Index. Right. So when Migration Watch post the white British as an English population of London, and they point out that in some boroughs it's down to less than 20%, it's bloody at 15% there, right? And John's like, a better London has been created.
Yeah, it's an incredible tweet. I've shared it myself. And he was on Newsnight recently saying he's not in favour of the flag. It's like, really, the guy that wants white people obliterated from London. I'm shocked. It's the worst thing I've seen since the.
He's
clip.
Irish, by the way.
Oh yeah, since the clip where trigonometry nod along with Bill Maher. This is the worst things.
Yeah. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, right, okay, we can see the full scope of the system coming into view.
Yes.
The point, as John tells us, was to really rub our noses in diversity and simply ethnically replace us in our own capital, in our own biggest cities. And now you hear them talking about the shires over and over and over. Yeah. And this is becoming very evident to everyone. The old lies, the old magic spells don't work anymore. And they've realized that, they're summoning up Gammonzilla. Now, this is great. Mary Harrington coined this. And I think this is one of those genuinely insightful meme moments where it just captures exactly something that is coming into being, where, as she says, the governing classes still think about the English masses as a terrifying giant subterranean Gammonzilla that must be prevented at all costs from erupting. Yes, that's correct, and that's exactly what they're trying to do, but that's exactly what's coming.
Yeah.
And I think this cartoon...
They're willing it into being.
They're willing it into being.
Yep.
Because this...
They've summoned him.
Exactly.
By accident.
Gammonzilla is just the English version of these pricks on the street, right? Mm-hmm. That's Muslimzilla, right now. Like angry young men who are collective and they understand themselves as exercising political power, and they will use violence.
Yes.
And they're like, okay, well, we don't want Gammonzilla coming into being. It's like, right, so the other one's fine because the other one is one of their client groups.
Yes.
But Gammonzilla is actually still 3/4 of the population of this country.
Yep.
And actually, if Gammonzilla starts stirring, if Gammonzilla wakes and raises his head, well, that's an unbelievable amount of people who will be suddenly against the system.
Yeah, and the core difference with Gammonzilla, or one key difference, is that you're allowed to do a kind of what would be a sort of racist cartoon of him.
They've got all sorts of reasons, you know.
Yeah.
And not only that, they've got all sorts of containment mechanisms. But I think that these are failing at this point, and I think they know they're failing.
Yeah.
Does it actually say hate on his fist as well? I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, it does. And you know, he's got a little.
Presumably the other one says love, but we don't see that one.
And we don't get to see that one. But this Gammonzilla has been, good point. Gammonzilla might arise as a giant pink ogre to eat you. He may well find himself stomping through the Houses of Parliament, smashing everything in his path.
Yep.
It's actually a wonderful meme.
Do they have hate on both hands?
He does have hate on both hands.
The socks look a little bit urban to me, that style. I don't think you'd have the socks like that.
Yep. But the point is,
It's very Mexican.
they're aware that Gammonzilla has the power to do this, because whether they like it or not, the power of selection is still in the hands of the general public. And if Gammonzilla decides he's going to vote for something really far right, then he will. And of course, you've got Angela Rayner gone today, which is superb. And Gammonzilla out stomping. It's a popular meme, and I like it a lot. It's drawn first blood. And so there is the containment method. In the wake of the raise the flag discourse, you've got Keir Starmer being like, well, I mean, I have flags everywhere, but using our flag to divide devalues it. It's like, no. You know.
Definition of a flag.
Yeah. Exactly, that's Lucas' point. That's what a flag is for. But the thing is, the England flag has always been the sort of black sheep of the national flags, because they know the England flag represents Gammonzilla, and it always has, and it always will, and they'll never be able to take it, no matter what Yvette Cooper says in Parliament, where she's like, "Oh well, we should wave the St George's flag with pride because it represents our values of togetherness, fairness, and decency." No, it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. Which is why you don't like the England flag in every other context. It doesn't represent values at all. It represents the kind of deep primordial sort of groupishness of the English working class.
Identity. It represents a specific identity, a specific people, a specific community.
And their claim to this land.
That have been together for 1,000 years.
1,100 years.
Exactly.
And their claim to this land, that's the thing that it all was hinged on. England belongs to the Gammons. That's what the English flag means. And that's why they're putting it up. And, God willing, it'll carry on. And so you have the lib class talking about this on BBC Newsnight. And I think we'll watch a couple of clips of this because it's just fascinating. I think you guys will really get a lot out of it. Let's watch this first one.
I mean, that's a great thing. It's all about context. Yeah. The people who've been putting these flags up, we haven't really heard from them. They haven't said what their motivations are. When you hear...
Go on.
They have a fucking talk show. We haven't really heard from the people putting up these flags. Then invite them on.
Ask them.
You literally are the BBC. This is Newsnight. You are supposed to therefore talk to the people who are putting up the flags. But like he says, we haven't heard from these people. Why not? Because we're keeping them out. We're making sure their voices won't be heard. And so, okay, I'm sure this is going to placate Gammonzilla. I'm sure Gammonzilla is going to be like, oh yeah, I feel really included here.
Yep.
But this, I just couldn't get over. It's so, we just don't hear them. And they're like, oh, we're not racist, mate. It's not really that they are racist. What they are doing is just staking a claim to something that is theirs.
Yep. Hear them say anything, they're always saying, oh, I'm not racist, mate. Now, those people who were in the mall when the women brought the European Championships home, thousands of people waving the flag of St George, not one of them needed to or felt the urge to say, oh, by the way, I'm not a racist, because in that context, it's celebrating our unity. And unfortunately, the flags on the lampposts, because they're not saying what they're about, the implication is that they're more divisive. And I personally object to the flag of my country being used to intimidate my neighbours, and that's why I'm so patriotic about it.
I mean, I think...
Did he say patriotic?
He did at the end, yeah. It's just a lie. I mean, it's a commie
Is that what he
lies.
actually said?
Yeah.
He's
They talk about hating the flag.
but notice how he's framing it. When we are in control of the discourse, the flag means inclusivity and diversity. But when you just put up the England flag without our context being applied to it, intimidation, hate, division, because they can claim all they want, but they know that's not what the England flag stands for the Gammons.
Did he find the Muslim Defense League intimidating?
Apparently they didn't.
Did he find the sort of speeches that come out of the East London Mosque intimidating?
Weirdly, not much to say on it.
I mean, if you listen to what the Muslim community actually believes, and you're a liberal and you're not intimidated, it's because you're mentally retarded.
Yes, you think that it's just never going to happen, but these things do happen. They are happening. Anyway, we'll carry on with news sites because they do love England. You know, they love England.
I'm sure
when it's diverse and multicultural and with as few gammons in it as possible.
Can I just revel in the love of England?
Yeah,
because
sure.
I don't want viewers to think we're not going to love England.
No, we do. We do love England.
Sorry, just to pause there. So we've been dumping on you for half an hour now, but we don't want you to think that we don't love England. We of course do love England. It's like, look, you wouldn't need to say that if there wasn't implicit in
his
everything.
own logic applies. Like the whole thing, mate, I'm not racist. He did the exact same thing. Yeah. He did the exact same thing.
Actually, I do.
For broadcast impartiality, can we go to the same guest, but now make him give the opposite view half-heartedly?
Yes. Yeah, and we didn't hear from the Gammons, though, putting up the flags. Well, why not? You know, you've got every opportunity.
Whenever you listen to Billy Bragg, you got to realise he's a proper communist.
Oh,
you listen to his songs. Even like something like Between the Wars, quite good as a song. But you listen to it, you're like, oh yeah, it's just full-on communist subversion. This is what he is. So he's not, it's not some liberal or something like that. He's a full-on commie.
Isn't that great? We got on Ed Balls, a liberal, and then a communist to discuss English patriotism.
Yes, so, which by the way is what the mainstream thinks is the range of opinion.
Yes.
On the Daily Telegraph podcast, which is meant to be like the right wing paper, they had Ash Sarkar on and gave her a very sort of like friendly interview about why she's a communist. And this was Tim Stanley. So we all know they would never have the other version of an ist that's on the other side, right? So it's like they think the range goes from sort of wet Tory to communist. That's the acceptable range, even at the Telegraph.
But
anyway,
the thing is,
the BBC.
The great thing about this is they must feel themselves on a shrinking boat in stormy seas, because the fact that they're even discussing this, the fact that they're like, oh yeah, no, actually we do love England, guys, here's our little England flag in the background. Can you imagine that 5 years ago?
The boat gets tipped over. It's Gammonzilla.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming out of the sea.
Yeah, literally roaring out of the sea. But the thing is, they can feel him moving under the boat.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they're even having this conversation in the first place. They're like, okay, we're not going to get capsized by Gammonzilla, are we? It's like, maybe you are, actually. Let's listen a bit more.
England. The things I love about England, Marmite. Yes. I love it. There's nowhere else in the world. I've been all over the world because of that job. No one has anything that can touch Marmite. But the problem is, it's such a divisive issue. You know, people...
I feel a metaphor coming on.
No, not really. Just it's one of those things. Because when people sometimes ask you to make a list of the things that define Englishness, which is, it's impossible to do, because that would be top of my list.
But you did also reveal a love of our folk tradition, which many of us might have forgotten. Yeah. You tried to revive.
Well, no, I was kind of part of that because of the miners' strike. You know, during the miners' strike, there were a lot of folk singers whose frankly, music was more radical than mine. And partly I've come from that tradition. You know, my moments in Englishness that really inspire me are the fact that we were the first people to recognise that no one is above the law when we chopped off the head of King Charles. You know, we had the first working class movement in the world in the Chartists. I revel in the things that we achieved with our neighbours in Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales, the Battle of Britain, the founding of the welfare state, and of course 1966. That's always got to be in there.
Yes, that was a football match.
It was indeed.
And are you telling me that I can be of the left and wave my flag as proudly as from the right?
I do, because I think my fellow travellers on the left will recognise there are many types of socialism. There are many types of patriotism. There's a traditional patriot who believes in things that are immutable,
I half
that never
expected him
change.
to say
the
National
flag
Socialism.
He nearly did.
Be one of those things. The monarchy, the army, perhaps. Whereas my patriotism is based in values. The values that we as a society try to uphold. Compassion.
Lenin and others.
So isn't that amazing? So he gives a really Marmite is the thing he's most proud about.
Marmite.
Yeah, that was a joke about being divisive.
I know.
I'm going to let him off.
Sure, but then he goes, oh well, Magna Carta, the charters, whatever, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Look at the first person plural. That's what we did. It's not what foreigners did. It's not what any other people did. No one else has a claim to this, actually. And his whole point of it, therefore, the English is a set of values. It's like, No. Being English is a continual ethnically inherited ethnicity with a history that you are part of, whether you like it or not.
And the values he adheres to are leftist values, which would be a total imposition on English. They're not at all English. He's just saying, and I'm English, and they're the values. Like, no, you follow a completely different, an ideological top-down set of values that are completely separate from this.
And you're a communist, so
that's what I mean.
Exactly. And so you've got this. This is the kind of, so there is this kind of left-wing approved narrative of England, which there's a Twitter account called English Radical History that you can find the left-wing approved narrative of England, because it's just, here's a revolt against King John or whatever, and it goes through like, here's the Chartist revolts or whatever, Wat Tyler. It's like, okay, these things are all cool, but like there are other things about England that actually also matter, and one of those things is having a continual country that has been consistent for 1,000+ years. That's something the English are very proud of, actually.
Oh yeah, by the way, Enoch Powell said, for the unbroken life of the English nation over 1,000 years and more is a phenomenon unique in history.
There we go. And that's what actually we are carrying forward into the future. But what I like about this Politics Joe point, I mean, look at that top quote. Majority opinion can be turned against minority groups. Oh, well, if we've got permission.
Firstly, there's an enormous amount of minority privilege.
Yes.
And I've written about that, and it's sort of a huge thing. Secondly, what's happening now is that minority opinions are being turned against the majority.
Yes.
And thirdly, if you're a minority, as someone from a minority that survived in the mountains for 1,000 years, you have to admit what reality looks like.
Yes.
You can't be in open revolt against the majority all the time and expect zero consequences.
These are the consequences that she's worried about. And Zoe here just gives the game away. Again, she's worried, but what if the majority decide they've had enough of the minorities and just kick them out? And it's like, yes, they have the power to do that, actually. And so this is what the Lib is trying to avoid. The precious minorities must be, for some reason, here for as long as possible, forever. And the thing is, like I said, and this would be what Gammonzilla would do as well. Gammonzilla would just stipulate an ethnic group and eject them, like the ejection of the Egyptians back in the 16th century. But the thing is, the Gammonzilla already agrees with this, right? So when asked, admitting no more new migrants and requiring large numbers of migrants who came to the UK in recent years to leave, 44% of people are just completely on board.
Yeah, and they say, but what do they mean by that? My idea is let's just start the deportations and ask them exactly what they meant later, because they're clearly on board.
We'll figure it out as we go.
And that's
on.
pretty radical. Zero. They want no more new migrants, 45%, and they want them to start leaving. That's huge.
Farage looks like a wet leftist to half of the country.
Yeah.
And again, on the other side, you've got quite a strong sentiment where it's, again, about 43% who are like, well, no, I don't really want that, or I'm strongly opposed to that. But it's only 26% who are actually strongly opposed. So I suspect the sort of somewhat opposed will just consent by passivity.
And I'd say that a lot of the don't knows are just being polite.
Possible.
Like, where's this data going?
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't being collected by the government, is it? No. And remember, people are just quite hard line on this, but I think it's worth remembering that people think something like 70% of immigration is illegal immigration, when in fact it's like 1% of immigration. Because if you remember that people think, oh yeah, so all of the immigrants I see around, almost all of them are illegal. I want zero new immigrants and I want large numbers of them to go. And I'm happy for them to go in prison camps.
Yeah, 52% are happy for that. We've heard that number before.
They literally just look around like, no, all of these people should be in prison camps. What are they doing here? Yeah,
and if 52% it was enough to make a pretty big decision about Europe, I think it's enough to put them in prison camps. I'm just saying, I'm a Democrat.
You only need 35% to form the government. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is Gammonzilla's winning ticket here. This is the genuine id of Gammonzilla speaking, and they are right to be afraid, because literally when we get a right-wing government that says to Gammonzilla, no, we are going to do exactly what you're asking for, those people are going to win, and they're going to win a lot, and things are going to change very quickly.
This is the thing that I keep saying. If you don't address people's reasonable concerns reasonably, they will end up being addressed unreasonably.
Yes, indeed.
And this is what they're afraid of, but this is also what they're willing into being.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're being so extreme in their insane experiment that the replacement is going to be equally insane.
And they think that they can finesse it, being like, oh, well, yeah, the St. George's flag means tolerance and inclusivity. It's like, no.
It's just desperation talking. That's just desperation.
It means the complete opposite, and everyone knows it, which is why you sound so scared.
Yep.
Who are the men that pig for scraps amongst the ruins at the end of history? You should know, because you encounter them every day. Between the towering buildings of a fallen empire, we find the Fellaheen, the historyless men, who know nothing of the turning of the cosmic wheel and find themselves outside of civilization itself. Cut loose from the great chain of being, they represent the loam into which our dying culture will return. That is, unless we choose to take up the burden once again. This Fellaheen condition is the subject we explore in issue 4 of Islander magazine, on sale while stocks last and available worldwide at shop.lotuseaters.com.